Okay, so I picked up this little stack of cloth at Walmart, and you could use any kind of cloth that you want to. If you're somebody that does quilting or anything like that, you might already have some on hand. But what these are, they're basically what they call fat quarters, and you can also buy these individually. Sometimes they have like a little stand on the end of the aisle where they're rolled up, kind of like the ones you've seen at the Dollar Tree, and they're usually around 97 cents each. So I'm just going to open these up, and the reason why I got these, I was mainly looking for some fall ones, with leaves or something like that on it, and I could not find any. So I went with this one because I felt like this, was kind of like in a theme, and it was more along the lines of fall type colors. So anyway, I'm not going to use all these. I'm only going to do 3 of these pumpkins, but I just want to show you. I'm going to open up this one here, and actually, I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to open up this to kind of show you what the size of this is so that you can see. So it's a pretty good size material, enough for what we're going to need for this project. And I just threw the tag away, but I think it's like 18 by something. So anyway, what you want to do is you want to open up your material and get it laid out flat. You're going to need some rolls of toilet paper. And depending on what size you want your pumpkin to be is the size of toilet paper that you can use. Now, if you want your pumpkins to be different sizes, of course, you are going to have to take some of this off of the toilet paper or grab a roll that's already been partially used. And I don't mean that like, used, but like that people have already taken some off of it. So anyway, what I'm going to start out doing, I'm just going to unravel this roll a little bit, just a couple, just about, 5 or 6 times. And then I'm going to roll it back, but I'm going to roll it back really messy. And you might even want to kind of like go around the top a little bit just to kind of give it some, so it's not quite so straight up and down, because the whole idea is to make this look like a pumpkin, not a roll of toilet paper. And I actually need to unroll that a little bit more. Sorry, this is the first time I'm doing this, so, All right, so now I'm just going to kind of like roll it around like this, back and forth, until and the bottom really doesn't matter because it's going to be sitting flat. So that's what I've got here. So I'm just going to set that right in the middle of my cloth that I'm going to use, and I'll just tuck this piece in somewhere, and then I'm just going to gather it up and I'm going to tuck it down into the hole. And it doesn't look like I'm going to have to cut anything off of this, luckily, which is a great thing. And depending on how tight you want it, I do think I want this to be a little bit tighter. Start that over. So as you can see, I'm just taking it and I'm just, pulling it around and then just tucking it in where I want it to go. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Pumpkins aren't perfect. But that's basically the way that looks. And it's just something very simple, very easy. Now, what I also did was I got me some cinnamon sticks, and I had these left over from last year. They had these at the Dollar Tree last year. I don't know if they have these year round. I don't really think that they do. But you can get these anywhere. You don't have to use cinnamon sticks. You can grab a little twig out of your yard and break a piece off. I just thought it would be nice to use these because they smell good, and I need me a little stem, and I have these on hand. And so basically you just need something that you can stick down in the middle. And if you can do it without having to cut them, you just make you a little hole down in there. That would be even better. And so I was able to do that with that. And you also may want yours to be a little bit thicker. So anyway, that's basically what that looks like. Now this one is a little bit fatter on one side than the other, but that's okay. You can just turn it around however you want to display that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do my other 2 rolls and fold those up, and then I'll be finished with that project. And these are the 3 that I ended up completing. This one is the biggest one. This is slightly smaller, and then this one is a lot smaller. But you know, just depending on what you want, you might have to unravel more toilet paper and wrap around if you want to. Of course, you can display those any way you want to. I don't have my fall decorations put up yet, so I don't really have a place, but I did want to let you see what these look like. And it is just simple and easy, and you can use any kind of material, even from an old shirt, and you have a really cute fall decoration for your home. This next project, I'm going to be using this little foam pumpkin, and so all I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut this top part out, because I am not going to need that when I'm doing this. And I'm just taking a knife and I'm going to cut down and toward the center of it. And so I'm just taking that out. This is actually in with a little toothpick. This comes right off. You know, if you want to pull that out, and you know, if you have any projects that you want to do, just to let you know, you can just take that off. But I'm not going to need that anymore. And as far as what this looks like inside, I could shape this up, but there's really no point, because what I'm going to be doing with this, it's not going to matter. Now that I've got that off, I do want to cover this with some Mod Podge first before I paint it. And the reason why is because I just don't want the foam appearance to show through the paint that I'm using, and if I put the Mod Podge on it first, it will kind of cover that up so that I won't have that problem. So I'm going to Mod Podge this and then let that dry, and then I'm going to coat it with the paint that I'll be using. This is what the pumpkin looks like after I got it painted, and I did go ahead and put some floral foam in here as well, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these succulents that I picked up at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put some in the top. Now I don't know how many I'm going to get, and now looking back, it may have been better for me not to cut the top out of this and just to leave it on there, and then maybe just remove the stem, and then I could have just, you know, placed these on top of that versus inside of it. But either way, I think it'll be okay. But I got several different ones that I'm going to use. I don't know how many of these I'm going to be able to fit in here, but I will just you know, put these out and see what I like better, and just mess around with it until I get it done. Alright, so I had 3 of the succulents left over that I did not use, but overall I think this actually turned out really pretty. So that's what this looks like, and I've got all my succulents in the top here. I really think that turned out good. I do have a little seam on the back, and I'll just turn that around, but very pretty, very nice and clean. And also the succulents that I picked out, I did keep away from the reds and did gear more towards the purples. Okay, so I had 2 of these pumpkins, and I went ahead and did the exact same thing with this one that I did with the other one. Painted it white, cut the center out. But with this one, I am going to do something a little bit different. Instead of putting the succulents in here, I'm actually going to make this into like a candle holder type pumpkin. And all I'm doing is I'm just taking this little vase that I had got from Dollar Tree. I did put a candle in here. I think I may have gotten that one. It has a set of 4 at Dollar Tree as well. And then I'm just going to set this down into the pumpkin like that. This does set perfect inside of this. You could glue it if you wanted to, but it's pretty sturdy. I mean, when you set it in there, it doesn't feel like it's going to fall out or anything. And I really am not going to do much more to this, other than maybe put a little bit of garland around it. All right, so this is what I ended up doing with the candle. I felt like it needed a little bit something, so I did just take some twine and I wrapped it around the base about 7 or 8 times, just securing it with hot glue. And then I just had some garland that I had picked up from the Dollar Tree, and I just pulled all the leaves and everything off of it and just laid it around. But this would also be really pretty to take maybe some thinner or smaller garland and just wrap it around the base of this here as well. But I really like how that turned out, and I thought that would be a very pretty centerpiece for a table or something. Basically, this next project is not really any big deal. I just got this little pumpkin, I don't know, stand, napkin holder, whatever you want to call it, at the Dollar Tree. Now you can take this apart and do other things with it, but for this particular one, I am simply going to paint it. I'm going to put some of this floral foam inside of it, and then I'm going to stick some really beautiful fall flowers in it, and that's going to be a little planter, you know, for this. So I'm going to use the China Blue by Apple Barrel, and you can get these at Walmart for like 50 cents each. And I really love this color blue. I really like blue on the pumpkins. I don't know what it is, but it's just, I think the color of blue just really pops with the oranges and yellows. So anyway, I'm going to paint this up, and I'll show you how you know, it looks after I get done with it, and when I start to arrange the flowers that, or the floral that I am going to put in it. Alright, so I got the pumpkin painted the blue color, but I think I'm going to dry brush some brown over it just to kind of age it a little bit. Nothing too much, but just so that it doesn't look quite so plain. Alright, so I'm finally done with this, and this is what the end result looked like. I think it turned out really pretty. And now I'm just going to put the flowers with it. And when I was talking about how the flowers look really good with that color, I really like these really pretty gold and orange flowers. I think they're just real pretty and small. I didn't want any really big gaudy flowers for this. So I am going to take this and stick it down in there. I like this because it's really soft, and I do like to use that for smaller type vases versus the really tough styrofoam. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure this, and I will probably have to cut these off down here to get those in here. So I am going to go ahead and cut these off right here where they join, and then I can cut them off more if I need to. I think that's actually going to be the right height for that. And I'm just going to stick these in. I've already put my foam in there. I'm just going to stick these in randomly for now. I can always move them around if I need to. And I may do a couple of them a little bit smaller, just so that they sit a little further down. And so that is that. And I think that turned out very pretty, and that would be very nice on any table. Now I probably will keep the back of this. It wouldn't be something where you could see it on both sides. When I set it out, I probably will set it on something that, you know, where you only see the front part of it. But just see how those beautiful colors just pop with that blue. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. So this last DIY, what I'm doing is just, I've got this at the Dollar Tree because, you know, pretty much all this is Dollar Tree. But I like this because I like the design and the cut on it. I thought it made me think of a pumpkin. And so you can either take this insert out and decorate it, or you can leave it in. Now, when I put a candle in here, because that is what I'm going to use it for. Of course, you could use it for anything you wanted to. You could decorate it up and then put candies in it, or make a little candy jar. But I want to put a candle in it, and so being that I do want it to kind of be a little bit, you know, I want it to be able to glow, I'm going to mix my paint with Mod Podge and do it that way. I'm going to take my orange, and the orange that I've got is called Pumpkin Orange. All of this is by Apple Barrel. I went yesterday to Walmart and loaded up on this, so I did get, you know, all the fall colors that I wanted for this year. And they had plenty of this at my Walmart. And so I already had some Mod Podge from where I was using it earlier, and I'm just going to add this to it and mix it around. I'm just taking my brush and I'm just going to paint over the outside. My main goal with my first coat is just to get everything covered, and then I can go back and you know, thin out areas where the paint's too thick, or add more if I want to. And this is how the candle turned out after it dried. It did leave a few streaks, but they really weren't that bad, and I think the only reason why it did it then is because I did not mix as much Mod Podge as I should have with it. It still turned out cute, I think. Of course, you can do so many different things with this to make this, you know, your own. But I really wanted it to be thin so that you could see the candle or the glow of the candle through it. Of course, you could just paint that a solid orange, but I thought that was cute, and I like the way it turned out. I did not use the insert. Instead, I just went with a regular votive candle in that. And then this little charm here I got off of another Dollar Tree candle that I had picked up before. I think it was last year.
Oh, how easy it's to forget. Still thinking about how we met. Yeah, I'm with you now. Oh, one thing that it's plain to see, the best thing in this life's for free, and that's so true.